Welcome to Bricks of Norway.
Hi there, my name is Paul. In today's video we're going to talk about a classic, aka a modern version of the classic. We're of course talking about Space Explorer in set number 928 here in Europe and set number 497 in the US. The new modern 2022 version is called 10497, and here it is. Lego released it on 1st of August, and I got it on the 2nd of August, and I built it on the 2nd of August. And this set I've been waiting for. If you're not familiar with the classic space, that the theme that Lego released in 1979, you may not know which set I'm talking about, the set number 928. But in 1979, Lego started a new theme called the Classic Space, or just Space then. Now it's called Classic Space. With the 928 Space Explorer, huge spaceship. They also released a small one called Space Cruiser 924, and the smallest 918 Space Transport, or one-man spaceship. They also released some smaller scooters, two-seater or one-seater, and cars, and space station, and rocket launch, and several sets from 1979 to 1983-4. In the beginning, there were only red and white astronauts, as in the new 10497 set. Later on, they released yellow and blue and black. So what's so special with classic space? Well, it might not be that special, except for us that grew up with those sets in our youth. It's the same as the Yellow Castle they released in the same time period. Who built a yellow castle? But that's what Lego released, and it was very popular and is highly sought after today. Later than 84 and later on, they released several new themes within the space theme. Blacktron, Space Police. I don't remember many of those because I've never been interested in those. I primarily like the early classic space. I normally just like the period with the red and white astronauts, but I'm beginning to grow into the later period of classic space with the yellow and black and blue astronauts. They're growing on me. I didn't have that many sets when I was a child. I had one-seater and two-seater scooter. I had a couple of vehicles and a moon base. That was the largest set I had. I never had any of the larger spaceships. Later on, I bought more of those sets, so I have almost all of the early classic sets, and I bought some of in the late classic space period with the yellow and black and blue astronauts. The set was 928 in Europe, but this spaceship is actually called LL928. Even in the US, it was called LL928 and LL924 and LL918 for the small ones. So today we are talking about this. This set was delivered at around 10 o'clock this morning. By 1 o'clock, I was done. Had some help of my daughter building it, and I really, really love it. This is a nice modern interpretation of the classic 928. This the size is 1.5 times in size to make it feel, as the designer Mike Siaki says, they made it larger so that the fan, aka the ones that grew up with the original 928, would still feel it as a large ship, since all of those fans are now adults. So yeah, it's large, but it has almost all of the original features, and I added some new ones. Actually, since it's larger, I actually have space for 4 astronauts, and you have possibility to open for the rear quarters with sleeping quarters, and they added a robot that was originally released in set 6809. You still have the rear with the possibility to open, and still have the moon buggy. You have to drop this, and you can pull out this one, and when you release lower that, the car will roll out. And you have the wrench and the radio, as you had earlier. This time they have included an airlock, so you can open, so you can astronauts can walk inside, walk in and out of the quarters to the rear space cargo. On the original one, we had some small doors with the tools, and here we have the use of the old mailboxes, now in grey, with some tools each side. You have the thrusters you had in the old ones, but this time they're using buckets, and you can rotate them if you want to. If you remember the classics 928, they had a white arrow pointing downwards, and they have that here too. It's not that easy to see, but it's very clever made. You can see on the inside. Using a shield that has been cleverly hidden the parts that they're not supposed to see, to make it look like an arrow. I think the designer did a great job. They have kept the sign of the spaceship, the edges. This one has a bit thicker wings, more sturdy. They kept the original yellow and black lines. You even have them under the engines. This one even has a little party trick. You can actually remove this engine on the side and use it as a one-man space rocket. Put the astronauts here and the controls here, and I can, yeah. This is my least favorite feature of this set. I think that was unnecessary. I don't like it that much. But maybe it's just me. Everything is bigger on this version. And they added a new, very important feature. This is the underside of the spaceship. But on this one, you have retractable landing gear. Very, very clever. So when you remove the landing gear, hide the landing gear, subtract the landing gear, you will get a much sleeker design. I really, really like this one. I normally don't order things with express delivery from Lego, but since the normally takes about 1.5 to 2 weeks, sometimes 4 or 5 weeks to get things when I order it from Lego. This time I use express delivery, and I had to build it. And I had to make this video, because I love this set. As you can see, it has 4 engines, 2 on the side and 2 on the back, as the original one. You have the antennas, you have the green lights, and the red lights, lights on the side, and the 2 radar antennas in the front, or laser guns. So, is there anything more to say about new set 10497? Yes, there is, because the designer has included, well, you can download from Lego instructions to build a modern version of the 924 and 918 in the same scale, 1.5 times bigger than the original ones. The only thing you are missing are the bricks with the correct number on the side. They have not included those bricks. Those instructions you have to download from lego.com, as I said, but it's mentioned in the instructions. Well, what can I say? I was talking about instructions on black pages, so this has the black front page, but that's, you would think so because it's in space. It's nothing there, and it has some and some words from Kjell Kirke Kristiansen, the grandson of Ole Kirke Kristiansen. And he was the leader of the company when the Classic Space was released. It has some information about the original set and pictures of the original, and they have some information about astronauts and their history. And it had some words from designer Michael Siaki. And the interesting thing is, and people have been speculating about this earlier, because Michael Siaki said once that said that they started designing the modern version of 928 already in 2013, and it started in Lego in 2012, and has always been his dream to build a modern version of the 928. So we started in 2013, and there have been several iterations and getting closer and closer to the original design, because they started more far off. And I guess that in last year more people have been involved, other designers, and this set was now released because of the celebration of the 90 years of Lego, the company, and they had a vote, I think it was last year, where you can vote on the most the themes you were most popular to revisit. Now we are having the classic space and having the classic castle with a new castle. That one is an expensive set. And there's one more interesting thing about the instructions. On the instructions you will find some small notes from the designer that says something about the set. And the red and green navigation lights on the original model were not placed traditionally. Red lights on the left side and green lights on the right. Instead, the red lights are towards the front and green towards the rear. This new model keeps the same placement. There's small information that you might miss when you're really building it, because you want to be finished with the builds as fast as possible. But if you look closely in the instructions, you will find more of those. I like to talk about the instructions. But the instructions are an important part of the set. I know a lot of people like to use the digital instructions from lego.com. I prefer the printed ones. I think that many of those digital Lego's own digital instructions is more difficult to see different colors and see where to place bricks, because they're not good enough digital prints. The quality of the PDFs are not good enough, I think. So I prefer the printed ones. If you are in doubt about buying the new 10497, but you like classic space, just buy it. I think you will love it. I do. I haven't built the 924 and 918 set now. I guess I'll build them later. We'll have to see. I think I'll do it, but now I want to keep the 928. So perhaps I'll make a video of those later. And stay tuned for more classic space videos. They are coming. On my Facebook page I uploaded some pictures of the large moon base, the combination of the moon base from 928 and the 926 command center. I added some more parts as well, but I've used a lot of features from those sets to combine it to a larger one. I've shown some pictures, early pictures of that on my Facebook page. I'll put a link in the description. And I've also created a couple of MOOCs, classic space MOOCs, based on the 889 radar truck. They're just a variation of that, two different radar trucks, larger ones. I'm going to release more. I designed more classic space sets this winter. But I put a link to my page on reveal.com in the description as well. This is all for today, so please like and subscribe. Enjoy!